Red alert, pulse on the planet. Keep it fast, standing.
Think he's awesome. Why do I have to think he's awesome? Can he be above average at this point? Can he just be above average? Does he have to be awesome? Does he have to be awesome at this point? Now, do I think he's awesome? He right there. He right there at awesome. He right there at awesome. He'll get you buckets. Have you ever seen Durant score 60 points? 56 points.
No mask, not even if it's old dark 30. Split street made, even dirt rolls, highway 30. 50, 40, 90, that'll get you 30. That's a clean sweep, even when we getting dirty.
Alright, this finna be fun right here. This what I'm finna do. I got some stuff I want to show y'all. We're gonna get into a little bit of this Kevin Durant stuff real quick. And I'm basically going to go over some of the things that's being discussed on, throughout the Rocket sphere. Yeah, that. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take y'all off of here, and we're gonna go through a couple of videos. Now I'm gonna be going, whoop through some of these videos, because what I don't want to happen is, obviously I don't want to get strike right out the gate. So that's cool in the game. But let's start with this. Molly's asking a question. Now, obviously, Molly can be a little bit annoying sometimes, because she be trying to get her stuff and she be saying it like, however she be saying it. I don't know. I like Molly though. She cool. But look at everybody's face. T-Mac looking like Motorola. Gil, he got the, I'm finna say some bullshit. Stephen A is looking like, oh, here we go. He building up, you know what I mean? He building up for the moment. So let's just listen to what actually is being said right here.
Motivated should the Suns be to trade KD?
Motivated?
Motivated.
They have no choice. They're the Phoenix Suns. I mean, there's nothing over history that's shown that they're a well-oiled machine. So you have a group of guys that are elite at what they do, and what do you have, 3 or 4 coaches during that time span? You haven't figured out what type of coach they need as a group to make them functional, right? You have AAU basketball play out there from elite scores in this NBA. So it's not about like.
First of all, I want to say Tracy McGrady is probably, and I don't know how he feel about this, but just from watching this, Tracy McGrady probably should be an NBA coach at this point, because his IQ, his understanding of the game and talent and what it takes to be good is very underrated at this point. First of all, he is resonating to him what Gil is saying, because it's thoughts that he's had before. Stephen A, obviously he respects what Gil is saying, and Molly got the purse mouth because she don't know what the F is being talked about right now. She is ready to hear him up because he's thinking out what he's saying. He's going through his thought process, and she wanted to be entertaining instead of informative, so she got the purse. Okay, and so we're gonna skip ahead a little bit because Gil is kind of, he is kind of going. So I'm gonna let you get to the meat and potatoes.
He went to Golden State, which was a well-oiled machine. Yeah. He fit right in. No hiccups in the play style from anyone. He goes to Brooklyn.
Gil just said something important. He said OKC made a mistake on who was more important between James Harden and who they picked, right? So he left it open, to imagination, but I'm assuming that what he's saying is that OKC should have kept James Harden and Kevin Durant and let Russell Westbrook go. Okay? Now follow that, because that's some real stuff right there. Because now if you think about, well, first of all, you have to understand this. It was already being talked about at the time when James Harden was playing for OKC that he was coming up short in the playoffs. They was already saying that his game was not suited for playoff basketball, and in playoff basketball, when things change, he would be able to, people could take him out of the game, or he would not come through as they would expect him to. And that's really what happened in that series. He didn't come through like they expected him to. They went back to the bench, and the other teams was able to just focus on Kevin Durant, and Russell Westbrook wasn't able to bail him out because he kept shooting instead of being a better facilitator. But anyway, let's go on to listen. I'm gonna fast forward to some of what Gil is saying, because he's going through a bunch of stuff about what is going on in Phoenix and about KD's deficiencies. Not so much of where he think KD should go, but about KD as a basketball player. So I'm gonna speed it up a little bit, and maybe we'll cut some of that out.
With him. And I don't know if he's going to go somewhere where they can win a championship next year. So I'm just going to be selfish here, and I'm going to just say the Lakers.
You know the problem I had with KD's stint. And
okay, he summed it up real well. At the end of the day, he would like KD to go to the Lakers. What I would have liked to happen right here was for Stephen A. to ask him, the question is, what are you willing to give up for KD as a Laker? Because that's what the whole thing is going to be about. The whole thing that we're having with Kevin Durant is not about KD as a player. It's not about 50, 40, 90. It's not about the Slim Reaper. It's not about Durantula. It's not about you must know who I am. It's about what are you willing to give up as far as building your team, as far as the economic aspect, as far as the financial stability in your team, destructuring your team and leveraging your future. This is what it's really about. Stephen A. didn't really push back, laughed it off. But the real question right there was, what is KD worth to you as a Laker? And if he says Austin Reeves, then you put Houston on the fire. Then you will put Houston on the fire to say, hey, look, we got a proven player that I would give up for Kevin Durant. We're going to give up Kobe of the Ozarks, right? We'll give you Austin Reeves, Dalton Connect, 2 first rounders, woody wop, and then Houston is on the fire, because now you're giving up good value. But let's go and listen to what Tracy said.
and Phoenix,
Tell me.
I think they have the wrong coaches. What I mean by that, when you look at Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and Kevin freaking Durant, what all 3 of those guys have in common, they are great outside shooters, right? Neither one of those guys really need the ball. They can play without the ball. Why is Golden State so hard to guard? Because they have great shooting over there, and what are they doing? Player movement, ball movement. It's hard to keep up with Steph and follow him all around the court. And when they had Clay, it was hard to guard those guys. You get a lot of action going on. Well, you got 3 of the best shooters in this league besides Clay and Steph. Why don't you design an offense around 3 of these guys? You had a player like Nurkic who can pass, who can rebound, who can initiate your offense like a Jokic. Not to that level, but to catch the ball in a position to make pass while a lot of
Again, Tracy is talking great basketball, not really getting to the point right now, because as you see, the question is, which team needs Durant the most? And she said, where do you think is a good spot for Durant to land? which is not what's on the bottom line right here. So, T-Mac makes a great point. First of all, let me say this: as far as underrated basketball players, T-Mac is going to be right up there to me every time, because when you talk about, every time they talk about the greatest scorers of all time, they say KD, they say Melo, and they boost those guys up as the greatest scorers of all time, but they leave out Tracy McGrady. You can't say that Melo and KD are better scorers than T-Mac. Why do I say that? Because neither one of those guys is faster. Neither one of those guys could jump higher or over 7'6" players and dunk on them. So as far as attacking the rim, deadly. As far as a jump shooter, he was just as deadly as either one of them. Mid-range, just as deadly as either one of them. And offensively, overall, T-Mac is as good a passer as LeBron James. I'll put that on everything. Skip Bayless says LeBron James is probably one of the best passers he's ever seen next to Magic Johnson. I say T-Mac would have to be a 2B, which obviously I don't think they're better passers than Jason Williams or Steve Nash or Jason Kidd. But if we're talking about big guys that's 6'8", 6'9", and you say Magic, then you're going to throw LeBron in there after Magic over Pistol Pete, which I think is absurd. But then I would say T-Mac is a way better passer than Kevin Durant or Carmelo Anthony. So being a better passer, being just as good as a shooter, being better at attacking the rim, having an efficient mid-range, efficient three-point game, not efficient, but he was very, very good at shooting threes and very clutch at shooting threes. So I would just put T-Mac, as a better offensive player, or equal offensive player to Kevin Durant. That's just my liking. But he talking basketball, I still haven't got to where Kevin Durant can go yet. But let's let it play out a little bit more.
Action is going on both sides of that court with great shooters. No one has come in to put that in place. Kevin Durant is 36, 37 years old, still trying to take guys, but still taking guys off the dribble.
Oh yeah, that's the point I was gonna make. The point I wanted to make was, he's making a good point about the way basketball is being played. I watched teams play the triangle offense, and I said, why everybody don't implement the triangle? And then when I started to study basketball more, I found out that teams were implementing the triangle, but it wasn't from the same angle inside of the three-point line that Phil Jackson would implement the triangle. The triangle is implemented by a lot of teams, but Phil Jackson's triangle was a little more based off of interior than, three-point line triangle or outside triangle or weak side triangle, things like that. So what Tracy is saying right now is, that why teams don't have movement, why teams don't have Rip Hamiltons, to put it plainly, why teams don't have more Steph Currys right now. Is it you can't tell people to run the baseline and pop out? You can't tell this dude right here to go in the corner? You can't tell this guy right here to go here, come over here behind Luka, and then pop out this way so KD can get in this area? Or you can't tell him to pop out and get the ball and KD go down and pop back out? Well, he'll break his leg if he do that. But what he's saying is Bradley Beal and Devin Booker should be doing more movement off the ball rather than just spacing the floor. And that's what the NBA has resorted to, and I find that suspicious. I don't think these coaches are too dumb to tell players to move without the ball. Just floor spacing and one-on-one, I think that's something that's being intentionally done, that's being initiated by the league to make the game look away aesthetically or for whatever entertainment purposes, or to leave more room for other players to fill those voids. So when you have everybody shooting threes, and then the minute they want to make Anthony Edwards into the face of the league, what do they tell him to do? Go to the mid-range. Or if he get his back to the basket and go to the mid-range, he gonna be the GOAT. He gonna be the face of the league. Well, if that's the case, why is everybody shooting threes? If it takes being more like DeMar DeRozan, which has been a dominant force in the league for years because of how efficient he is from the mid-range. Tim Duncan is considered one of the best players ever, and they put him above 1 million people because he was efficient from hitting off the backboard. And the mid-range game has always been fundamentally, one of the best things to do on a fast break. Stop and pop, Calvin Murphy, 15-footer. These things have never changed, but the league has changed, and they left this open so that they can make a superstar when they get ready to. That's what Tracy McGrady is saying. Let's let it play.
Making the game hard on him. Right. Whereas when you see him play in Golden State, the game was so simple.
Well, here's the deal. The game has never appeared as easy for him as it was for him in Golden State. In terms of shots, like he does what he does, but it's in traffic, it's under duress. He just does what he does because he's KD. And so I'm looking at it, and I'm thinking about Matt Ashby and what you said, and I've let my feelings be known about the job that I thought he's done as an owner. But we gonna leave it at that. By just reminding folks, Monty Williams was there. You got rid of him. You brought in Frank Vogel, who wanted.
Stephen A. is just talking about the same thing. Nobody has addressed yet where KD should go. And Stephen A. is just pointing to what the problem is in Phoenix. So what they're doing, now if you listen to what everybody just did, everybody just made a bunch of points about why KD wasn't successful in Phoenix. Nobody has said where he should go yet, which that's what the question is about. You would ask yourself, why have they not addressed that? Maybe because they just rambling and they haven't got to the point. Molly is going to bring them in a little while, I'm sure. But as to this point, everybody is throwing out excuses to why Kevin Durant hasn't been successful in Phoenix. But Stephen A. is itching.
Same points per game average. The brother's elite. I think Houston.
It's perfect.
I love Houston for him.
Perfect.
I do, Gil.
Gil says they're not ready.
I love the Lakers too. I don't. Trade clause. They would love to get rid of him, but they can't. And so KD, like Gil said, you have to get rid of him. KD fits anywhere. KD is an all-time. I've let my feelings be known about the job that I thought he's done as an owner. But we gonna leave it at that by just reminding folks, Monty Williams was there. You got rid of him. KD fits anywhere. KD is an all-time great. Okay, the brother is doing stuff in his 30s better than he was doing it in his 20s. I'm talking about field goal percentage shooting, 3-point percentage shooting, same points per game average. The brother's elite. I think Houston.
It's perfect.
I love Houston for him.
Perfect.
I do, Gil.
Gil says they're not ready.
I love the Lakers too. I don't
tell
think
you why.
But I love the Lakers for him too. But Houston with Ime Udoka,
Yes.
with the parts around him, that you just do your job
Yes.
and you give that brother the #1 option. If he was in OKC right now, it wouldn't even be a system.
That's what Houston's problem was in his playoff this year.
So, look at Stephen A's face. Stephen A. is serious about that. And he does like Ime Udoka. And he does feel like Kevin Durant would help the Houston Rockets. But here's the problem with what he said. The parts you have around it. So it begs the question, what do you have to give up for Kevin Durant? Houston's identity is defense. The parts you have around Kevin Durant would be based off of what they did last year. So you have to keep Alperen Sengun. You have to keep Alperen Sengun. You're not giving up Amen Thompson, because I believe Amen Thompson is on the trajectory to be a top 3, top 4 all-time Rocket at this time on the trajectory. I also feel like that if you start to give up too many of your defensive players, like teams are asking for Jabari and Tari. Jabari, Tari, and Dylan Brooks. That's 3 of your defensive core. And if you give up 3 of your defensive core, then you're leaving Amen by himself as the lone defensive guy. And it makes your defense a little bit worse when you go to your bench, because who else do you have on your bench that plays defense? Well, Jae'Sean Tate. Well, you're not going to try to play Jae'Sean Tate a bunch of minutes. You know, Jae'Sean Tate has a tradable contract, and obviously on a team where you contending for a title, Jae'Sean Tate can be very valuable because his energy changes the flow of the game. He plays with that kind of energy, and he will be very effective on a team that's contending. But he's also 6'4" and plays, you know, very much below the rim, you know. So the fact that we're talking about what would you have to give up for Kevin Durant, you're talking about where should Kevin Durant go? It's not just about where he should go. It's also about, are you going to have to scoop the ice cream out of your team in order to play him? That's the problem. You don't want to scoop all the ice cream out of the container in order to eat your cake. That's just ridiculous. And for Kevin Durant to only have projected, you know, he's 37. Let's say he plays to 41. That's 3-4 years tops. How good will he be at 41? You know, he played, I think they say he played 56 games last year. You know, the year before that, probably less. I don't know how healthy he was going into the playoff this year, but he folded a couple of times, you know, late in the season that helped his team get out of the playoffs. He actually blew his leg out of proportion in the Toronto game. You know, that was the year that he jumped out of bounds and the referees didn't call the out of bounds when he was standing out of bounds. 7-foot guy standing out of bounds catching the ball, and the referees didn't call out of bounds and let him save the ball. Well, the Rockets would have beat the Golden State Warriors, and Kevin Durant tore his Achilles. He went for a layup in warm-ups and almost died. I mean, almost unalived himself. Just trying to do a regular layup in warm-ups. So, you know, the dude is not he's not durable. So to give up, I mean, Tari's not durable. He don't play back-to-backs. So maybe Tari is a little more expendable than what Rockets fans want to admit. Because deep down inside, we all have a little worry about Tari Eason and his health. But if you say Tari something, okay. But if you say Tari Bari, well, Bari be hurt a little bit too, but not a lot. And Jabari is a very integral part of the Houston Rockets defense, being switchable, being able to protect the rim at times, growing into his body, very clutch, you know, plays with a lot of intensity, and, you know, being able to play some 5 at times. So Tari and Bari is a big chunk out of the Rockets defense. And then you say Dylan would be in that package also, which is crazy. That's where you get crazy, because Dylan is also our best 3-point shooter. So now you're putting Kevin Durant on the team because we need shooting, and you're taking our best 3-point shooter away. Mine is Reed Shepherd. And there are videos where people are saying, oh, give us Reed Shepherd, Dylan Brooks, Tari Eason, Cam Whitmore. Child, please. This is just ridiculous. Some of these people are crazy. I wish I could get to all these videos. I don't know if I'm going to get to all of them, but I'm going to get to a couple of them. So let's let this play out a little bit more.
Sure.
Huh?
They needed a bona fide score.
That's right.
Defensively,
Not Jalen Green's
everything
not
else, they have
Jalen
everything
Green's not
else.
that.
Scoring is where they got in trouble in big games.
Like I'm looking more of how the game is being played, right? When you talk about where's the two-man game, where's the three-man game, where's the down screen, where's the up screen,
right.
Where's the movement, right? The reason you couldn't guard him, Steph, or Clay. Movement.
Okay.
Pass, cut, screen, look away. Like there was so much movement in the game itself, right? When we talk about the triangle with Michael Jordan, the triangle was never for Michael Jordan. The triangle hate Michael. I mean, he hated the triangle. The triangle's for the team.
Okay, that's good. Because he went right back to what Tracy McGrady was saying about the movement, which is going to eventually be, I think, the downfall of Ime Udoka. He doesn't have enough movement in his offense. I don't know if his assistant coaches are offensive-minded guys, but Houston Rockets offense was very blah. You know, man. You know what I mean? So, you know, but I think that's a league-wide thing that they've implemented into the league to where guys are just 4-out spacing. You don't have a center. You know, we do have a center, so we can play 4-out, 1 in, but you have to have 4 shooters, which is why I say KD and Dylan Brooks and Fred VanVleet are, which I actually feel like if you get KD, that gives Reed Shepherd a great opportunity to play basketball. Listen, if you get a legit superstar, Reed Shepherd becomes monumentally better immediately, because now you have a guy that's polished and he doesn't take a lot of the burden to not make mistakes on himself. He just has to come down, get the guys into the offense, and then wait on the ball to come to him, or come down, shoot the first open 3, and you know, let the offensive rebound happen, you know, and stuff like that. So, but it's a lot about the way the game is being played, blah 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 blah, and you know, Gil doesn't think Houston is a good place for Durant because of the fact that the game, the way that we play in Houston, don't really match his game, which I kind of agree. All right, let's go to another video.
The Rockets have been linked to Kevin Durant, along with some other teams like the Heat, like the Spurs. So we're going to play a little Who Says No to some Kevin Durant trade scenarios. We have Brad Botkin and John Gonzalez with us, and we're going to start with the Houston Rockets. We've cooked up some potential trades.
Now, who did that? Was our producer came with the trades, or did you guys come
We're
up
just
with the
going to
trades?
say the CBS
Who's
Sports
playing GM?
Brain
Okay.
Trust.
Okay.
CBS Sports Brain
Because
Trust.
if it's dumb, I just need to know like who to go after.
Future first-round pick. Who says no, fellas?
You want me to go?
And a future first. Fred VanVleet, Jalen Green in Houston, and Sports Brain.
Just need to know like.
So the trade involving the Rockets is you get Kevin Durant in Houston, and you give up Fred VanVleet, Jalen Green, and a future first-round pick. Who says no, fellas?
You want me to go?
Yeah, you go.
Okay, if this is me, now I'm getting, I like to play GM. If I'm playing this for real, I'm saying that the Rockets say no here.
Okay. Hold on. Let me let them go.
I'm sorry, the Suns say no. Because, hold on.
Red alert, red alert, red alert.
I'm confused here.
Debating this, I'll pick it up for you. I would say that
You confuse yourself.
Who's getting who?
I would say that the Suns would say no on this one because, for me, primarily, the Suns have no control of their draft moving forward for the next several years. Who controls a big chunk of their draft? The Houston Rockets. You saw future draft pick on that list. The Rockets control 2027 and 2029, plus this year's number 10 overall. I need more draft capital in this just because the timelines don't really match up on this one. If I'm the Phoenix Suns, if I'm going to reboot this thing on the fly, give up Kevin Durant, I want some more of my draft back.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out. I don't know why it's confusing me so much, but the first round pick is going to be the key in all of these. If you're getting players, are you going to get picks on top of it? If now that I'm looking at this, I would take this if I'm the Suns because there is a pick involved.
What if you're the Rockets?
That's the one that I would say no to. I would hold.
Okay.
I would hold. That's where my confusion was. If I'm the Rockets, I don't do this trade because I don't think the Suns have any leverage, and this has been reported on. I don't think that you need to include future picks in this. If it gets down to it and it has to happen, and you decide you really want Kevin Durant, then you can. But I would not be jumping the gun to throw picks at Phoenix. I don't think you need to.
I also, if I'm the Rockets, would say no to this, and it's less about the picks because they've got a whole bushel of draft picks moving forward, so they've got some capital to play with. But if I'm the Rockets, you have a really good team.
Okay. So let me try to do a little quick recap. The guy in the blue was saying that if he was the Suns, he was the Rockets. If he was the Suns, he would say no. The guy in the gray said if he was the Suns, he would say no. If he was the Rockets, he would say no. And the guy in the gray is basically saying that the Suns should say no because they're not getting enough of their draft capital back, which I think is a calculated move by Stone because you need that draft capital if you plan to make another move. Because here's the thing, if you get Kevin Durant and you lose a young player, you can't replace that player with anything else unless you have draft capital. Because you won't have money to go out and sign a player if Cam Whitmore doesn't blossom. Who's your legit shooting guard? I've said before that I think Dylan Brooks would be valuable as a shooting guard, but he doesn't have a lot of create, to him, like a lot of creating and stuff like that. He got more than what people give him credit for. Don't get me wrong. It's not flashy, but it's enough to get him to where he want to go and get the shot off if he want to get a shot off. But at the same time, the guy that's saying that Kevin Durant is worth Jalen Green, Fred VanVleet, more picks is absurd. The reason why it's absurd is just simply because those picks are going to be high picks. Period, point blank. Those picks are going to be high picks, period, point blank. There is a report came out, and I'm probably going to get to it later. I don't want to, how you say, I don't want to spoil it for later or whatever, bury the lead, or well, not burying the lead because I've already buried the lead, but something about fights in the locker room in Phoenix, which also is something that I think is leaked from some kind of source to depreciate the value of Kevin Durant. But the next guy turns around and says that the guy in the blue with the glasses, he said that if he was the Rockets, he wouldn't do it. If he was the Suns, he would, because they are getting a trade, even if it's not this year's pick, right? Which is valuable to the Rockets because if you have to give up a Jalen Green, you want this year's pick to try to replace something, right? Now, I did notice that when we went to this shot here, let me see if I can, right here. When we went to this shot here, they got Amon as your starting point guard, Dylan Brooks as your shooting guard, Tari Eason as your power forward, and Kevin Durant as your small forward. These guys are insane if they think that Kevin Durant is not going to be the power forward in this scenario. Obviously, these guys don't know basketball. Kevin Durant is very much going to be the power forward in this scenario if Reed Shepherd or Aaron Holiday is not starting there and Amen Thompson is not playing the 4 or the 3. I think we want Amen to be a point guard, but his handle and his decision making hasn't just, it hasn't blown anybody away to this point. And I think that's a very valuable part of this conversation, that if you give up Fred VanVleet, this is where it gets really sketchy, because in order for us to really be a contender, you would like to keep Fred VanVleet here. And you would like to keep Dillon Brooks, which is impossible, right? But if you have to, I mean, to be totally honest, and I'll be totally honest, I'd rather give up Fred VanVleet than Dillon Brooks. But if you're going for a playoff, you want to keep your turnovers down. And Dillon Brooks is not going to allow you to not turn the ball over as much as Fred VanVleet is. Also, Dillon Brooks is going to make boneheaded plays. Tari Eason is going to turn the ball over. He's going to make some boneheaded plays because he's going to gamble every single time. Alfred Sengun is going to turn the ball over. He's going to do the freaky pass, you know, behind the back, behind the neck, behind the leg, whatever. He's going to turn the ball over. So in this scenario, your rebounding is okay because you got Armin, and you got Tari, and you got LP, and you got the Slim Reaper, and your defense would be outstanding. Your defense in this scenario would be outstanding. But who's controlling, you know, who's actually controlling the game? Which, by the same token, you know, if you're coming down and you get KD into his offense, if you Armin, you don't have to do a lot. But you have to manipulate the defense to set up the offense to where KD is getting the ball where he want to get the ball, and you have to manipulate the defense to where, you know, the defense is not able to just target him. So you really have to be able to move the defense with your eyes, with your ball placement, with your body shifting, and just make the defense respect you, so that even if you pass the ball to KD, he's able to have a little bit of wiggle room to do his thing, right? So Armin at the point guard right now, we haven't seen it, and it looked great. This is where I think Reed Shepherd would really come into play, and Tari Eason would go back to the bench, and, you know, Kevin Durant, Armin Thompson would be your forwards. So I could see it, and this would be a great lineup, you know, for the second half of the first quarter or early in the second quarter. This would be a great lineup to have on the floor. Not going to deny that. But you only got two shooters and a possible third, with Tari being okay at shooting the three ball, you know, and Dillon being plus 40 at shooting the three ball, and Kevin Durant being the Slim Reaper. So I mean, it would be a good lineup, but you're losing the head of the snake here. You're really losing the head of the snake. And so this is why Rockets fans are really having problems when you look at it, is because of this thing right here. Once you take Fred VanVleet from this team, you've taken a big enough chunk from the Rockets to where you already hurt them. They're already hurting because we're giving you a starting point guard. We're giving you a championship level point guard. Not only a championship level point guard, a guy that when we needed him in the playoff, he just went bananas. We tried to get Jalen Green the ball, we tried to get Alfred Sengun the ball, and when nothing else would work, Fred just took over and said, I'm going to show you what you're supposed to do in the playoff. And he went out there and just smacked Curry for a whole game and a half. Like, we just going to smack Curry. You know, just hands down outplayed him. And, you know, he's done it before in the playoffs, so we know he can do it. So I think really the thing that we're looking at is, what would the Rockets be losing? Is losing Jalen Green the big deal here? No, because we still got Cam, we still got Reed, we still got Armin and Tari. But if you have to lose Jalen being 22 points per game score, Jalen being, you know, one of your most athletic guys, one of your fastest guys, one of your better shooters, whether people believe it or not, one of the leaders on the team, whether you believe it or not, one of the faces of the team, whether you believe it or not. Jalen being that guy for the Houston Rockets, even though it didn't pan out well in the playoffs, you want Jalen Green and Fred VanVleet, you probably can get that. You want that next year's pick, 2027, you probably can get that. But once you go past that point, if you ask for anything else, the phone conversation is over. Don't send me no phone, don't call me, don't text me, don't fax me, don't email me, don't nothing if you want more than Jalen Green and Fred VanVleet 2027 pick. And for me, I probably would say 2029 and 2 second rounders. That's just me. That's just me. You want draft assets? I'll give you 2 second rounders in 2029. That's how I'm looking at it. So that's where these guys went. I'm gonna let the rest of this play out.
I would not be jumping the gun to throw picks at Phoenix.
I'm not ready to blow this thing up yet. We talked about this a little bit earlier. They have a team that finished second in the Western Conference without really one established superstar. They have some really good players, some really good stars. Alperen Sengun, Amin Thompson, I think, could potentially be a superstar in this league. You saw Jalen Green there. He's a little hit or miss, but I'm a big Tari Eason guy. Cam Whitmore. You get on the roster, they've got a whole bunch of players. They did last year. They were way ahead of schedule. I want to see another at least half a season from this Houston Rockets team up to the next trade deadline before I make any major moves. And again, these are all young players. Kevin Durant, fantastic player, Hall of Fame player, NBA champion, but 37 years old. Does he fit on the same timeline? Pump the brakes a little bit if you're the Houston Rockets.
Okay, so that's the Rockets. Let's go to another.
Okay, cool. Let's check that a little bit. By trade deadline next year, the Rockets could possibly have 3 All-Stars. Now just think about it. Jalen Green played 82 games last year. He did not miss one single game. Bradley Beal might miss games. Who's the next best shooting guard on the West? I mean, I'm waiting. I know nobody's going to answer me. But, I mean, who is it? Who I'm looking. I mean, Anthony Edwards, is he a shooting guard or a small forward? You know? So when you talk about the West, and I mean, who was the Western All-Stars last year? Let's just take a look at it. 2024. 2024. All-Star West. Boom. Okay, let's look at this.
Red alert, red alert, red alert.
Bing, bing, boom, boom, bop, bam. Okay. Let's close this up. Okay. Shea, Luka, and Steph. Shea, Luka, Steph. Boom. Let's say we take Devin Booker out. Shea, Luka, and Steph. Devin Booker scored 25, 7, and 4. Jalen Green was 21 or 22, I think 5 and 4 or 4 and 4, right? So it's not far to say that if he upped his points by just a little bit, Jalen Green could very well be. Jalen Green could very much be in the All-Star game next year. Period, point blank. Period, point blank. 24, 6, and 4, Steph Curry. Can Jalen Green do that next year? Absolutely. Absolutely, Jalen Green can score 24 points with 6 assists and 4 rebounds. Absolutely. So, you want us to give up an all-star, star point guard, who's been an all-star before, and multiple draft picks. It's insane. So blowing it up is kind of, I mean, it is a strong term. We're not really looking to blow it up, but at the same time, you know, these guys are, you know, a little bit. These guys are a little bit over the top with selling the Rockets for these guys are a little bit over the top for selling the Rockets to get Kevin Durant. And they're, at the same time, what they're really doing is they're bolstering his value to a point that the league, to me, is trying to leave open space for other teams to just run away with the championship. Like they say they want parity, but they only want parity until they need to make a superstar. And if they decide, hey, Shai's gonna be the superstar, then they can mess your team up by having these media heads tell you that you need to go out and get a guy that you really don't need, that's really gonna stifle your ability to have to really be flexible and have leverage moving forward as far as assets.
From, you know, directly from you guys, kind of what are the motivations here behind a KD trade? We know that mid-season, right, there was, you know, the Suns kind of blindsided KD with trying to flip him at the trade deadline, the whole Jimmy Butler saga, and then Bradley Beal and all the no trade clause and all that mess. Kind of what are the goals here, right? Because there's two avenues, right? It's kind of the idea that you can, you know, try to tear it down and reset, rebuild, or try to remain competitive in the aftermath of moving on from KD. What are the Suns looking to do with this KD trade?
Well, and I don't expect Rocket fans obviously to know this because they're not checking out Locked On Suns every day, only when they're coming over to mess with us and tell us that they're not going to get, we're going to get a ham sandwich, a Capri Sun back, and maybe the 10 pick, and then we'll just feel good about that, and that's what we're going to have for lunch. But no, when it comes to Kevin Durant, I think the Suns understand the needs of Devin Booker. It all comes back to Devin Booker. That's what all roads lead back to. And Booker had mentioned he's not going to be part of a rebuild anymore. He doesn't want to rebuild. And so there's a...
Shout out to Jackson Gatlin, man. Jackson Gatlin be asking great questions. In this situation, I see Jackson. Shout out to Jackson Gatlin. What I see is Jackson getting ready to set this guy up for a mean combo. And this guy, Benjamin Garcia, is really what I like to call trying to sell you an ugly truck. Or trying to sell you a wooden nickel. Throughout this whole encounter, Benjamin Garcia is trying to pitch a sale to the Rockets as if Kevin Durant is this wonderful player that he wants to get rid of. But he says he wants to keep him. But, mind you, I'm going to look down the line as this video goes on and try to find the reports that says there was a fight in the locker room, and maybe I think that fight was between Kevin Durant and not Bradley Beal, but Devin Booker. And if these two guys came to blows in the Phoenix locker room and it's just coming out today, then that says a lot about why Kevin Durant and Bradley Booker is not going to be able to coexist in the locker room if you know, Devin Booker got them paws put on him. You're not the alpha no more, and Phoenix needs you to be the alpha. And Kevin Durant then beat the confidence out of you, and you know you can't just do anything you want to do. So I'm not gonna listen to everything this guy say, but I want to get to the way he feel about the trades, because obviously a ham sandwich and a Capri Sun is crazy if you're talking about Jalen Green, Fred VanVleet. Even if you're saying, hey, we're gonna give you, you know, Jeff Green, Jock Londale, Jayshawn Tate, and all your picks back, and Dylan Brooks or whatever, and we're gonna take some contract in Kevin Durant or whatever the case may be. You know, we're gonna send 2 players somewhere or whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? What I'm saying is, to get your picks back would be enough for a guy that you have to get rid of. To be able to draft number 10 overall this year, and then play your butt off next year and then still not make the playoffs and still have a pick next year to try to draft again and replace Kevin Durant with 2 up-and-coming lottery picks would be enough to repay you for a guy that just put pause on your best player. But this guy here is not going to admit that. Look at his mouth. Look at his mouth. Look at it. Look at it. He got his eyes closed. He over here making up a wish in his head. Right now, you can see the wheels, like in the cartoon, when you see the little screws turning in his head. He got the little watch in his head, like the back of a Rolex. And you can see his head, mind, and the gears just turning inside of his head while he making up this bullshit he finna say.
The fine line of the Suns need assets, picks. The Suns need players that can help you win now. It's what makes the Minnesota.
Okay, listen to the bullshit. Listen to the bullshit. The Suns need picks, but the Suns need players that can help you win now. Why? Why do you need to win now if you want to get your picks back so that you can draft a lottery pick next year? See? So they want to draft a lottery pick this year for Kevin Durant, and then they want to win, and then they still think they're going to get a lottery pick next year with their pick? No, because if you win, you won't get a lottery pick next year. So what he's saying is utterly ridiculous just from the standpoint of you're not trying to win next year. Devin Booker said he's not going to be part of a rebuild. Guess what that means? That means Ime Udoka and Rafael Stone is saying, we want your team to suck tail next year, this year. And we want you to have to rebuild, and we want you to send Kevin Durant somewhere else, and we can give you your picks back for Devin Booker, because ever since they started trying to send Kevin Durant to Houston, Rafael Stone has been saying, we'd rather wait on Devin Booker. We'd rather wait on Devin Booker. Excuse me. You know what I mean? That's a little bit of that, talking about. But, so, the point is, they keep, ever since we got the Suns picks, we tried to get Kevin Durant, they asked for too much. We was just asking you because we heard that y'all, we know y'all might have to get rid of him. But we really was waiting on Devin Booker 2 years from now. And just think about it. That's exactly how it's playing out. It's like Stone had a crystal ball, and his crystal ball was linked to Phoenix Suns' office. He knew exactly how this was going to play out. Kevin Durant is going to leave. He's going to have to get out of there. Y'all, salary's going to be too much. You're going to have to get rid of some of these players, and we'd rather have Devin Booker. So guess what the problem is? The problem is you need to trade Kevin Durant somewhere else. You need to take Jalen Green, that's a young player, and you need to slide us Devin Booker. And then you get your picks back, and then you can rebuild. But they don't want to come off Devin Booker. So that's really what's going on here. And they're trying to convince us to take Kevin Durant, because if we get Devin Booker, we would have a better chance at being a dynasty. You would have a team with a bona fide bucket in Devin Booker that can score from all 3 levels. You would have a bona fide defense without losing a lot of players. And you would have a player that's only 27, 28. How old is Devin Booker? 20. How old is Devin Booker? Let's look at this. 28 years old. Let's see how old Devin Booker is. Devin Booker, 1996 is.
Red alert, yeah. Got the dirt on my soul, no grandstanding.
First of all, he was born in October, so he ain't got good sense. But yeah, so 20 something, 20, still in his 20s, basically still in his 20s. I'm not finna do no math right now, but let me see. I can see this right here. Okay, I'm gonna just stick this up here. 20, 25 minus 1996. Okay, boom. I said minus 4. $28. So Devin Booker is 28 years old. 29 years old. Okay. So let me see. Is it this one? Okay. So this is what the real problem is, because a 29, 28-year-old Devin Booker is a lot healthier than Kevin Durant and a bona fide bucket. Not as good as Kevin Durant, but he has shown the ability to score. I would be checking on why Kevin Durant put pause on him, and that would give me a little more reason to say, hey, look, you know, we do want him or we don't want him. Let's see what this is going to pop up right here. Let's see. Before I get back to that, okay, now I'm going to go ahead and go back to this.
Minnesota Timberwolves offer so appealing. And, you know, we don't have to get into exact players of like the Rockets. We'll do that here in a second. But like what makes the Timberwolves reported deal Matt Ishbia are trying to get out of a deal. Something that can keep them competitive for now, but also give them something to look towards to for the future and be like, we can build on this. And in 3 years, when Bradley Beal's contract's gone, when you have some assets to trade, we're still Phoenix during the winter. We're going to get people that want to come here. So I think that would answer your question.
Okay, perfect. No, that's great backstory.
So send over Amen Thompson.
That's the. Oh man, I'll just boot him off. Hang on, how do I do this? Just boot him off the stage right there. All right, bring him back.
Shout out Jackson. Exactly, because he know. Listen. So funny story. Jackson was making a part, and he put something, and he was just like, he first came out, he was like, one of the reports say Amen Thompson. I literally cut the stream off, and I listen to the Locked On Rockets every day. Every day it come on, I'm watching. Mostly anything that come on about the Rockets, I'm watching. But I cut the stream off, and I cut the stream off immediately as soon as you said Harmon. And he came back and he was like, nah, that wasn't even part of the package. So I went back on and watched it. You know, shout out to Jackson Gaffney. Dude, he really be in his bag when it comes to those questions.
All right, so now that we kind of set the stage there, here's the thing: the dilemma that a lot of Rockets fans are facing with, and trying to come to terms with. A lot of Rockets fans are like, okay, KD's washed. He's 36, will be 37 next year. And the argument that I feel like is not a really good faith argument is a lot of Rockets fans are like, oh my God, KD couldn't even lead the Suns to the play-in tournament with Devin Booker and this, that, and they're like, okay, first off, just like KD likes to say all the time on Twitter, basketball's a team sport. First question, is KD washed, or is he still like a very good player in the NBA? And then two, how much of the Suns' issues were not related to KD and more just about roster construction, the defense, coaching, whatever?
It's so interesting because if you've seen the way that KD talks to me on social media, he would think I'm calling him a terrible player. In my opinion, and this is like an opinion, I think these things are subjective, he's a top 10 player of all time. He has shown no signs of slowing.
Insane. This dude is insane, bro. Insane, bro. This is how you know what insanity is, bro. Top 10 player of all times? Top 10 of all times? You can't even get to 4 without having a debate. You can't even get to 6 without having super great Jerry West or somebody at 9 or 10. Like, how do you get KD at the top 10, bro? Are you gonna put KD above Akeem Olajuwon? Is that what you're trying to tell me, bro? Oh my days, bro. Listen. First of all, I don't even want to get into it. But how do you get 10 from Jordan Braun, Kareem, Wilt, Bill Russell, Jerry West, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson? I'm at 9. I'm at 9 or 8 or 9. Come on, bro. Did I say Kobe? Never said Kobe. Did I say Shaq? Never said Shaq. Come on, bro. This is how you know, guys. Like, I don't know. This guy, Benjamin Garcia, is locked on Suns. He has the premier Suns podcast, and this guy is absolutely out of his mind. Bonkers statement to say KD is a top 10 player of all time. Absolutely bonkers, bro. I can make a debate that he's not the best scorer of all times. Absolutely bonkers, son. It's the absurdity of stuff when people say stuff like that. KD's a top 10 player. Top what? Do I like him? Oh man, I else with the Slim Reaper, man. Listen. Back when he was in Texas, I was watching the Texas game, and I could go back and pull up stuff about me saying the Rockets should try to trade up, do whatever they got to do to try to get Kevin Durant. I was obviously, if I'm right, that was the Greg Oden year, and I was like, I don't know why somebody would take Greg Oden, and I would always say take the tallest person. I would almost never say pass on the center. But I never knew why anybody would pass on Kevin Durant. Ever knew why anybody would pass on Kevin Durant. And I would never say pass on Kevin Durant. I'm not even saying pass on him now. I'm saying that the way that people are trying to set this narrative up, that his value is higher than what it should be, is insane. And this just is my point. Top 10 player of all times. He's not a top 10 player of all times, bro. He's just not. And I ask you a question. Do you think if James Harden was in Golden State Warriors with Stephen Clay, they would have done any worse? Do you think they would have been any worse if James Harden was in Golden State Warriors instead of Kevin Durant? You put James Harden in at the 3. I'm just saying. Yeah, I like him. He's 7 foot tall. He always trying to say he's 6'11", 6'10". We know the dude by 7'1", 7'2". But I ain't trying to make it mad, man. Don't come for me, bro. I'm just saying. I like the dude, but top 10 of all times is insane.
I would be incredibly naive to think that if he comes to the Rockets next year, there's not a chance he could just fall off a cliff. Like, that is 100% a possibility. He's 37 when the season starts.
100% a possibility. Let me tell you what I actually put as a question on here. And if you look through the comments, you'll see this. No, because I was in the chat. I actually put this. Fall off a cliff ain't the problem. Fall off his own feet is a problem. That's what I put in the chat. It's not about him falling off a cliff, because all we need him to literally do is come in and be Ray Allen. Come in and be older Ray Allen. That's really all we need him to do. We need you to come in, get buckets when the ball is in your hand, which don't have to be all the time. I mean, obviously, if we give Jalen Green, we need 20 points to make up for that. Fred VanVleet didn't score much last year. I think Fred's average was kind of low. So anybody would take up his anybody would be able to take up the slack for what we missing Fred. But the 20 points that Jalen Green won't be there to get, that's all he would have to do. And I believe he could get that on what was it, 4 shots a quarter, 16 shots. I mean, maybe. Man, I don't think KD has to take 25 shots to get 25 points. I just don't. I never have. So I mean, I understand the efficiency, but fall off a cliff? Come on, bro. Come on, bro.
About Rockets fans, they're like, you can have this, this, be a good boy, take it. You can't also say you want Kevin Durant on your team, but then say I'm willing to give up nothing for him because he's not of value to me. Pick a lane. You either think he's awesome and you're willing to give up something in terms of, like, I get it, no Şengün, no Thompson, but you're willing to give up something tangible so that you can compete right now. Guys, look at the East. This time last year, you said.
So listen, I know you might be wanting to listen to this guy talking. You might be annoyed by listening to him talk, but you either think he's awesome. Why do I have to think he's awesome? Can he be above average at this point? Can he just be above average? Does he have to be awesome? Does he have to be awesome at this point? Now, do I think he's awesome? He right there. He right there at awesome. He right there at awesome. He'll get you buckets. Have you ever seen Durant score 60 points? 56 points. You can't remember that game. You can't remember the game where Kevin Durant did the Luka, or did the Damian Lillard, or did the Donovan Mitchell, and just crazy numbers. You can't remember that. Now, can he hit the big shot when you need him to, which is very important to me? Yes, he can. If he's on the floor. Let's get back to it.
Celtics are just going to run it. And then the Celtics, everyone gets injured. Jason Tatum blows an Achilles, and now it's wide open.
Achilles, and we need Kevin Durant for what? To do what? Jason Tatum is 26. Kevin Durant is 11 years older than that. Jason Tatum tore his Achilles, and we need Kevin Durant for what? Look at Jackson's face. I want y'all to look at Jackson. I want y'all to look at Jackson's face when he said blow an Achilles. In his mind, I wonder if Jackson was like, yeah, that's what we're saying. People blow Achilles. Mainly the guy that you over here bloviating about. Mainly the guy that you glazing over here. Don't do that. Stop doing that.
The Rockets need to I believe, act, whether it's KD or not, man. KD, Giannis, whatever, right? It could be anyone. But, like, waiting is not always the best thing. And the reason why I think KD makes so much more sense than Giannis is because, like, guys, I'm not crazy. Give up a pick, give up a player, a salary filler in Dylan Brooks, which is actually, like, way more difficult than we're even going to be honest. Like, the cap situation for the Rockets is actually kind of hard to match max contracts. It's going to basically need a third or fourth team. But, like, we got to be fair here. You either want him and you want to be great, or you want to do the slow burn. And I think that there's some real worries to that, man. So, no, not washed. No, not even close. Very, very good player. I want him here. Like, I want Kevin Durant here. Like, once I listen, that's what it seems like it's going to be. You know, there is a point where if you're the Suns, I think you do.
Oh, this segment's going to go downhill so quick.
Well, you should have thought, listen, I'm a man with not much to lose. This team has gone off a cliff. I mean, listen, man, I'm an all-Arizona fan. We haven't had a title since 2001. What do you want me to do? You want me to be... There's a reason why I'm as crazy as I am. I'm taking a toll mentally with these teams.
I want you to accept the ham sandwich and pick number 10. That's what I want you to do.
Listen, that's what it seems.
Ham sandwich, bro. Ham sandwich. Listen, I mean, I don't know what the ham sandwich is, but if you think the contracts of, you know, Jeff Green and Jock Londale, who we got from the Suns, I think, and some next joints. If you think that's a ham sandwich, and your pick number 10 this year, which might be Kaman Maliwai or Kasparis or any of these guys that everybody gassing up so much, if you think that that's a ham sandwich, bro, then we could go back and look at 10th overall picks that went on to become great players. Matter of fact, I think I know a guy that went 12 that's gonna be into everybody's top 5 players of all time. Right? And they always say the same thing every year. Oh, this draft ain't really that deep. And then you go through the draft board and you say, man, I like that dude. I like that dude. I like that dude. I like that dude. And then you say, man, who was that dude I saw playing March Madness that was real good? And you go look for him and they got him at pick number 28, pick number 29, and you like, what you mean not that deep? That's the guy that I was looking at in March Madness like, this dude might be the truth. Right? Exactly. Oh, this draft not that deep. Tari Eason. The draft not that deep. Alfred Şengün. 16, 17. Draft not that deep. Cam Whitmore at 20. Right? Give me a break, man. Give me a break with the draft not that deep. Oh, pick number 10. Look at his eyes. Oh, just pick number 10? Pick number 10? Man, listen. Like I said, the Rockets are really playing this like, you know what? We want to keep some of these assets because we want to be able to try to swing for another move down the line. If we can keep some of these players that guys want, Tari Eason, you know, some Jayshawn Tays, Jeff Greens or whatever. Let's say, you know, somebody else come available and the Rockets able to move, boom, and bring in another player that's close to the age, that's closer to our age group. And we able to get Kevin Durant for a little something, not too saucy, but not too extra. And we able to get Kevin. Now we building and we saying, okay, it's worth sacrificing 10 years down the line of your future, which it took us 5 years, bro. It took 5 years to get to this point. And you want to mortgage it for the hope that KD is going to be healthy 365 days from today? In your mind, bro. 365 days from today. Is Kevin Durant healthy? Just in your mind, think about it. Is Anthony Davis healthy? Is Kevin Durant healthy? Is Joel Embiid healthy? In your mind. Child, please.
Seems like it's going to be, you know, there is a point where if you're the Suns, I think you do think about potentially running it back with Kevin Durant next year with the absolute thought of you're trading him at the deadline. And it gets to it like this. If you're a Suns fan, I think you can get everything that you're getting right now in terms of, like, I think the Spurs would be willing to part with Devin Vassell at the deadline for Kevin Durant and a first-round pick. If that's all the deal's going to be, and Harrison Barnes, why is it teams...
Okay. This is where I wanted to get to. Devin Vassell, Harrison Barnes, and a first-round pick. Now, if the Suns got Kevin Durant, Victor Wembanyama, Swiper the Fox, I don't know if Chris Paul is still there or not, CP3, Joey Sohan, Rookie of the Year. If they got all that over there, what makes them not a playoff team? So why would their first round pick at the trade deadline of this year be worth any value to the Phoenix Suns? Because they're going to be a playoff team next year, especially if they get Kevin Durant. If the Spurs get Kevin Durant at the trade deadline, they're going to be a playoff team next year. Why would their draft pick in 2026 have any value to the Suns? My reason for asking you is this: Devin Vassell, Harrison Barnes, and a booger pick for Kevin Durant is what you think the Spurs will offer you at the trade deadline. But you want Jalen Green, Fred VanVleet, hobbity. Blah, 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 blah. Listen to all this stuff this dude
Teams like the Spurs and the Rockets are in on Kevin Durant until it comes into giving up. Like, let's just throw out a deal out there. Jabari Smith Jr., Tyree Eason, the number 10 overall pick, and salary filler, which is probably going to come from Dylan Brooks. What?
Now talk to me quick, but don't talk to me slick. Tyree Eason, Jabari Smith Jr., salary filler, and did you say picks? Let me just because I know you said, let me go back just a little bit, just a little tab right here. We're gonna just
giving up, like, let's just throw out a deal out there. Jabari Smith Jr., Tyree Eason, the number 10 overall pick, and salary filler, which is
Jabari, Tari, Dylan, and the 10 this year. The 10 this year. Listen. It's not Jabari, Tari. It's not the 10 overall. It's not the Dylan Brooks. It's the collection of all of it together, bro. It's the collection of all of it together, bro. Obviously, like I said, Tari got some kind of injury problem. But Tari is widely coveted throughout the league. Every team wants Tari Eason, bro. Every single team wants Tari Eason. If you was gonna bet, and I'm not gonna shout out no betting sites or nothing like that right now. But if you was gonna bet and you wanted to go on and you wanted to pick a bet that you could place every single time, you could bet that Tari is gonna get you at least 2 steals, and he come off the bench. You could bet that. You understand what I'm saying? You could bet that guy was gonna get you 2 steals a game, and he come off the bench. Because in any big game, he's gonna go out there and wreak havoc. He's gonna be in the. Tari Eason is a defensive playmaker. He make plays on the defense like the offensive guys do on offense. That steal that he get is gonna lead to a dunk on the other side of the court, cause ain't nobody catching him. Ain't no chase down blocking, no none of that. Tari gonna get that rip and he gonna push that thing or he gonna kick it up. It's gonna be a dunk on the other side of the court. That's 2 points and a steal off the bat. But he do be hurt. He do be hurt. So that's not the big deal. Dylan Brooks, whether you believe it or not, Dylan Brooks is a bucket. Dylan Brooks is a bucket, bro. He can get to the rim when he want to get to the rim. He can get to his midi, his little fadeaway, his little Kobe Michael Jordan fadeaway, and he's gonna hit it 50-60%, somewhere around there, and he's gonna shoot 40% from 3. And guess what else he gonna do? He gonna be cool as a fan. He gonna antagonize the other team. He's your only chance. He's your only chance that you know if it come down to somebody who got to get under somebody's skin, Dillon can do it. He gonna get up under anybody's skin he want to get under their skin like Draymond, right? And be laughing while he doing it. He's so Dennis Rodman like that. That he's playing with you and he get under your skin. He ain't even mad like you mad. He just goofy like that. So now you want the ultimate 3-and-D defender. One of the top defenders in the league. I don't care what nobody say about him. One of the top perimeter defenders in the league. Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. Don't say he's not. Is he Amin Thompson? No, he's not Amin Thompson. Is he Tari Eason? Huh? He's not getting steals, but he's putting mad pressure on whoever your small forward and shooting guard is. They're getting that pressure. That's just Tari and Dillon. Separate that. But you want Jabari? You want the number 3 overall pick? 6'10". Shot 43% in college. Haven't shot well since he's been in the league. But I would like to see his clutch shooting percentage. I would like to look up Jabari's clutch shooting percentage over the course of his career. If it's one thing you can ask any Rockets fan, hey, you got one shot in the clutch. You got one shot in the clutch. First name pop in your mind on the Rockets team. Stop it. Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. Some people might say Fred, because obviously Fred is a veteran. Nobody's gonna pass up Jabari. Out of 12 people on that team, Jabari's gonna be in the top 3 people that you want to take that shot. You might say Reach, you might say Jalen. I mean, I doubt you're gonna say Jalen, but you gotta. I mean, Jabari has hit so many clutch shots, bro. Mind you, he held Giannis to 12 points when Bucks came to Houston in the second year. Mind you, he dominated the summer league every time he went. Mind you, he switches everything, bro. He switched everything. He out there on your point guard. He's in there with your center. He don't got no bunch of wiggle to his hips. His offensive bag ain't what it is, but his mid-range is deadly. His mid-range is on the way to being KD. Think it ain't? Like I say, all he got to do is start using the backboard. If Jabari high post, mid post, from the elbow was a little more predicated on kissing off the glass, he would be unstoppable, bro. Because his shot is so fundamental. His shot is so fundamental, man. And that's just to get to this. The 10th overall pick. The 10th overall pick in this draft is not a bum. It's not a bum, bro. You looking at guys that's, I mean, we're not even talking about 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, where, you know, the Rockets consistently draft 13, 14, 15 for like 5 years that kept us in our winning era. Just drafting at 14 and 15, draft at 13 and 14, draft at 14. Like back to back years at 13, 14, and 15, bro. And you saying You want all the defensive players in the world and a number 10 this year. But if you get to the trade deadline, the Spurs might give you Devin Vassell, Harrison Barnes, and 2026 first round draft pick that's gonna be Cheeks. This is the problem what I'm saying, bro. These people, when they be talking so crazy. I know I be saying crazy stuff sometimes because obviously I'm saying, like, I don't even know, you know, I mean, I know the salary not gonna match up with like Jock Landale, and I know you can't trade a bunch of players for one guy. I understand all that. That's not where I'm going with it. What I'm going with it is, if you could take your picks back and not really get the players that you want. Let's say you was gonna take Jabari and you was gonna take some iteration of Jeff Green, Jock Landale, and Tari Eason. Let's say you was gonna take Dylan Brooks, some iteration of Jeff Green, Jock Landale, and you wanted Tari Eason. And next year's pick, we wouldn't be having this kind of conversation. We wouldn't be having this kind of conversation. You want Tari, Cam, and you want to ship Jeff Green and those guys somewhere else and bring a player back, and you get next year's pick, and but just Jabari was our starting power forward, bro. Jabari is technically our starting power forward. And Dylan Brooks is our starting shooting guard, big small forward. And you want your pick back? And Kevin Durant won $122 million? And he's probably not going to be in the league no more than 3 years, 4 years tops. If you think this dude going to be still playing at 42, man, you smoking crack. Crack with fentanyl laced in it, bro. It's no... Fair uses, man. Fair use. Fair use. Don't do that in real life. Hey, look. Don't do that in real life. All I'm saying is no possible way you think this dude will still be playing at 42. And you don't think Jabari will be killing at 42? You don't think Jabari will be contributing to a championship team if we sent him right now? You say, hey, we trading Jabari to Golden State for something. You don't think Jabari make them a contender again immediately? Just with Jabari, Draymond, Jimmy Butler, Steph Curry, you don't think Jabari make them a contender automatically? Come on, man. Get off the gas. This is all cap season on trades, man. These dudes is capped out because everybody is saying this team want to give them this and this team want to give them this. Oh, they would give you Carl. That was the best one. Best possible thing was like Carl Anthony Towns or something to New York, because Carl Anthony Towns is a proven all-star, and what he does, he do it regardless. Ain't none of the other trades, Jaime Jaquez Jr. and player 99 from Miami and some picks for Kevin Durant, Scary Terry or something like that. You're not even giving up Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo, or Khalil Ware, or what's his name? What's the center name? 7'2". Look, you go around all the picks. None of these guys are giving up their star players, bro, for Kevin Durant. But they want the Rockets to give up star players. Do we got a lot of star players? Maybe. But that's not the point. You're not asking from that level, that quality of player from other teams. Only from the Rockets. It's suspect to me, man. It's suspect to me. Let's get over here and look at this thing. Let's see if I can find this right here. No, that's not it. Was that it? Was that it? Okay, it was it. Hey, this article, Total Pro Sports. Shocking news detail reveal multiple fistfights in the Suns locker room amid the Kevin Durant trade buzz, and fans are going absolutely crazy. Grayson Allen folded Kevin Durant. KD got flashbacks of Draymond. Oh my days. Let me see this, man. If Grayson Allen beat up Kevin Durant, bro, let me tell you something. We can't even take you, bro, because we scrap. This Houston team scraps, bro. Every time the game get heated, we scrapping, bro. We scrapping. We throwing dudes on their head. We getting in faces. We poke. Hey, listen. If Kevin Durant got them paws put on him by Grayson Allen, let's see what they say. NBA Central. The Phoenix Suns reportedly had multiple fistfights in the locker room this past season, per Boogie Cousins. I was actually watching that. They put together a team based off names. It was never a complete team. It was never a team that made sense. Even though all the chaos that happened in Phoenix, there's a lot of things that haven't been reported. I don't want to be the guy to report it, but I definitely have heard some negative things in the locker room. There were a couple of fistfights. There was a lot going on that obviously carries over to the court. I'm not going to go into details of who was fighting. Yo, listen, I'm finna go down here and see if I can find out who was fighting. Who? Was fighting in his locker rooms. News about who was fighting in Phoenix locker room. Okay. Because all this is relevant. All this goes into, Kevin Durant being a Houston Rockets. Because if Kevin Durant was fighting in the locker room, if he was part of the fights in the locker room, I need to know who won. Oh, we already know. We already know. If he got Kevin Durant shuts down DeMarcus Cousins over false Suns locker room claim. Attention, absurdity. That's the currency now. And former players turned podcasters are crashing in. One hot take at a time. Friday, right here, another fresh batch of baseline false allegations. Basis allegation. Served up with the subtlety of the sledgehammer. This time, and maybe I'm part of the problem, shining a light on this noise that doesn't deserve it. Maybe giving airtime to this nonsense on the VC machine. But here we are, and my mission is to point out that vetting what you watch, listen to matters, okay? He ain't talking about nothing. Talking about Kevin Durant shut something down. Throw the information up there, bro. We ain't got time to be reading we ain't trying to read all your whole little disclosure, bro. We just want to know what was said. Okay, here we go. I have to contest this 94-footer. This is some BS to throw on us. Yeah. We were trash this year, but we never got close to this. Never. What in the cell sneezing? So this has to do with what I'm talking about. Oh, we never got close to this. Never. Reportedly multiple fights in the locker room.
ops rush, but the prayers ain't much.
I know we don't hear everything that comes out of the locker room, but it's hard to believe that we wouldn't hear about fights that broke out in the Suns locker room. Okay. Nah, man. Here's how I'll rebuild a team. You want to hear what this dude got to say? I ain't gonna listen to it. But anyway, you know. So right now we're not getting no information on who got them paws put on them and who didn't. You know, this might just be Kevin Durant trying to be a leader because everybody say he's not a leader. So maybe he's, you know, coming out and being the blanket and covering for the franchise and for the team and making sure that these guys not going, you know, getting a bad name put on them. Maybe he put them paws on somebody and he's just saying, hey, I'm gonna brush it under the table so nobody have to find out I put these paws on somebody. I don't want to be known as that guy trying to get traded. Or he might just be saying, you know, let me go ahead and shut it down so my trade value don't go down so they'll get me out of here. So I don't have to put these paws on somebody again. Pow. Okay, so listen. At the end of the day, bro, I just want y'all to, you know, I just want y'all to think about it from a different aspect because obviously I feel like the media they be going into their thing and it ain't always, I don't feel like it's always just the generic feeling. I feel like sometimes they set up these topics to where they have a base. The basic of the discussion would lead you to a conclusion that is a domino effect. And that domino effect is going to cause a certain ripple that's going to allow the money to be made. Now, let me finish with this. Kevin Durant is not a free agent. There are free agents this year, like LeBron James, James Harden, and other people that are actually free agents. You know, let's see. So the cap ceiling, 154.65 million. That's the 25-26 projection. Committed salaries is at 141.5 million, not count KD. Şengün 5 years, 185 million. Green 3 years, 105 million. Fred VanVleet 44.9 million. The KD deal, 54.7 million for 25-26 could add up to 122 million via extension. Crazy money. Matisse Thybulle, Chris Boucher. None of these guys really mean nothing to me. I mean, look, at the end of the day, bro, at the end of the day, this is what we're looking at. We're looking at the fact that if you just listen to the fans are like, just let us run it back and be mad when we lose. Don't make me have to be mad you made a dumbass mistake. That's what it's boiling down to, because we know that it's problems there. We understand that it's problems that's already in the buildup of our team. People don't like Jalen Green. Blah, 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 blah. The Rockets reportedly offered Jalen Green plus the number 10 pick. So that means, you know, something else. But the Suns are asking for more. Jabari Almond picks and what? Cheese. Boys, cheesed out. all the way cheesed out. Okay, so so it's basically a KD deal, would mean sacrificing young talent flexibility and dropping draft picks or trading Şengün or Green. You know, that's what it's asking for us to do to get KD, and that's not what it is. Bottom line is KD still elite, but cost ain't really. They might just be asking for too much, financially and developmentally. The best thing is probably to protect your core. You know, you got the picks, and we've been drafting pretty good. We got good analytics department. It's not really anybody in the league that fits our timeline that's an unrestricted free agent this year. Especially not nobody who, you know, could really bolster the scoring like Kevin D can bolster the scoring. So the things that we could do is bolster the rebounding more, bolster our defense more, get another shooter. It don't have to be a consistently great shooter. Implement Reed Sheppard, because Reed Sheppard is a great shooter. So we get Reed Sheppard more playing time. Tailor the offense to him a little bit. Let him get out there and cook a little bit earlier. Bolster our defense and we re-sign Steven Adams. We're going to need that because we don't have the shooter. We're going to need that offensive rebounding, but we need our defense to be a little bit stronger, and we need a little bit of help for LP. So, tell me what you think we should do. You think we should gamble on KD? Not. Should we gamble on KD? Do you think it's anybody that we could get that would be as good as KD as helping us achieve the goal of making a deep playoff run or putting us in title contention? Is anybody else there? You know, I tend to think Jaren Jackson Jr. helps this team get there. I tend to think. I know people say, well, he's shrinking the playoff. Yeah. But Jaren Jackson Jr. is 25, 26 years old, bro. Defensive player of the year. Put him on side of Şengün. Floor spacer. You understand what I'm saying? Defensive player of the year. Floor spacer. Add another 3-and-D guy to the team. Instead of KD, Jaren Jackson Jr. You understand? I know, he not this, he not that. He not KD either, bro. He not KD either. We don't need him to be the best scorer in the world. Well, that's what y'all was missing. No, that's not all we was missing. That's not all we was missing. We was missing somebody who could stop Brandon Podziemski from driving in there and shooting layups on everybody. We was missing somebody who could switch without losing where they at on the court sometimes. I tend to think Jaren Jackson Jr. is the perfect player to fit the kind of team that I would like to build. Because really, if you think about it, he's something like Jabari. Jabari is a little more, but not really. Could you imagine? Let me ask you this before I go. Could you imagine a scenario with LP, Jaren Jackson Jr. and Jabari on the court together? You're talking about a big lineup. That's a 3-big lineup defensively. Steven Adams, Jabari, and Jaren Jackson Jr. on the court together. Okay? Jabari, Jaren Jackson Jr., Amen Thompson, Dylan Brooks. Pick your poison. You understand what I'm saying? Amen Thompson, Tari Eason, hold on. Amen Thompson, Tari Eason, Dylan, Jaren, Jabari. I don't know. Don't ask me where the offense come from. I mean, you got Jabari and you got Jaren Jackson Jr. Both of them can shoot. So you got two bigs that's probably the best super beat, and you got Dylan Brooks out there. He can catch and shoot. So you got some floor spacers, and then you got Amen, who you want to be your star, and you got Tari, who can go to the basket. But the defense on a team like that, team defense would be historical. I guarantee you, they talk about OKC's defense. If you have Amen, Tari, Jabari, Jaren Jackson Jr. on the floor together with Dylan Brooks, all on the floor together, that defense is unpenetrable. Anyway, I know I'm gonna get killed for Jaren Jackson Jr. because he didn't play well in the playoff, but hey, go have a drink and sit down somewhere, bro. This is Red Alert. It's your boy. Yeah. Hi, signing out. I'm out.
I ain't got no pay, kept space, stacking data, told my soul encrypt the pain. Watch me hack my nature from the slums where this language is a dagger in code. I'm a Rosetta with the Berettas, better with the letters. Got scriptures in my syntax, street in my syntax. Pop off like syntax, the cheat check the syntax. They compare the dog.